Welcome to the What She Say podcast. Here we tackle the tough and taboo conversations. You know, the type you only have in your auntie's living room. Yeah, those conversations. Because there are so many lessons and takeaways from this thing that we call life. And I'm here to talk about all of them. And don't worry, I will not leave out any details. So, with that being said, let's get into today's episode. What's up, y'all? It's my first episode of What She Say podcast with your girl, Gabby. It's the first episode, y'all. Like, we are really here. We are really doing this. We really standing on business with this one. Let me stop playing with y'all for real. It's too early in the episode. But I wanted to thank you guys for tuning in and coming along with me on this journey. I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited. So let's get into it. First of all, I wanted to introduce myself. Like I said, hey, I'm Gabby. I wanted to come on here completely me. So I am bald-faced right now. No lashes, no makeup. Natural hair is out in the cut. You know what I'm saying? Comfy fit. I wanted to come on here with the first episode just being completely myself. So with that being said, a couple things about me. I'm 21 years old, born and raised in Detroit. Just trying to make it out here. You know what I'm saying? I'm a deep thinker, Jesus lover, but I'm far from perfect. Please let that be known. I am far from perfect. Honestly, I'm going to be honest, y'all. For those who know me and for those who don't, this platform, this whole entire What She Say podcast is going to be completely raw and uncut. I'm not sugarcoating nothing. I'm not going to dwindle my personality down just to make people comfortable. No, we not doing that here. So I'm not gonna lie. You know, I say if you have expectations, let's completely throw them out the window, okay? Because I have to show up completely me. So that means, you know, for those who don't know, I do curse. I know that's such a shocker, but I do curse. I am very raw and blunt, and I say whatever I gotta say when I have to say it. That's just what it is. I know I done lost a couple saints. Thank you guys so much for listening to this point. But seriously though, I am gonna be completely myself, and I hope that I create an atmosphere for you guys to be completely yourself and us to eventually have a dialogue and actually talk about the real stuff that's happening in the world and the real stuff that us as Black people specifically are dealing with in the world. So with all that being said, let's talk. I'm not gonna lie, y'all. I have recorded this one episode 5 times now. Let's just say technology been beefing with me for a minute. So I appreciate you guys hanging on and being patient while I brought this to you guys. I will be honest, there has been full episodes recorded, some lost, some where I was just like, it's not. Like, I started to think really deeply into it. So I decided to hop on the mic, hop on camera for those who are watching on YouTube, and just talk. I have my little handy dandy notes here, but I'm not gonna lie, most of it's gonna be off the dome because I do feel like the first episode kept getting deleted or just wasn't complete enough for a reason. So I do feel like God may want me to be going into another direction. So we are going to freestyle this first episode, and I'm just gonna talk to you guys. So let's address the title. I made this title, Let Me Be Honest, because that's exactly what I feel like I need to be with you guys. I want this first episode to be not only just an introduction, but I want you to, how do I put it? I want this first episode to be raw. So I want to talk about what most people would not get on the mic and talk about. I want to talk about how this podcast even came about. The beginning of it, the beginning stages, like how it really was creating What She Say podcast. I feel like a lot of people, they don't talk about the beginning stages or they don't talk about the hard parts and stuff. They want to show you the glitz and the glamour and yup, we got 100,000 followers and we got this and we got the shoes and the cars and we got this, but they don't really want to talk about the beginning stages. So that's exactly what I want to talk about. I'm going to be honest, y'all. This idea of a podcast. Not what she says specifically, but of a podcast is about 3 years old. I was a freshman in college when this idea came about. But there was a lot holding me back from actually getting to this point where I'm on a mic and I'm on your screen. I was not ready to show up in a completely vulnerable state. I realized early on of this process, present day, that in order to do what she says some justice, I have to show up completely myself and be vulnerable and talk about things that I may have never talked about with anyone else and shed light onto things that a lot of people would not talk about on a public platform, and back then I just wasn't ready. I let my fears get in my way of a lot, y'all. Back then, I had a fear of failure. I had a fear of, what if this doesn't hit? Or what if people don't listen? Or what if people don't care about what I have to talk about? And what if, And I'm not gonna lie, those fears came back up during this recent process of making this a real thing in today's world. But I realized, y'all, I don't even have a fear of failure, at least with this project. I don't have that. What I do have, I actually have a fear of success. The fear of, what if this actually works? What if people actually listen? What if people actually do want to hear what I say? What if I cannot hide anymore? What if the mask has to finally come down and people finally see me stripped of all of the defense mechanisms and all of the jokes and everything like that, and people finally see me in my rawest form? That is scary. And that fear alone has been the most prominent during this process. Not only that, but the mental strain it took, or it's taking, to bring this to life, it's so consuming sometimes. I'm surprised no one talks about it. I have gone through several stages of self-doubt. Like, once again, maybe they won't listen to you. Or maybe you're not built for this. Maybe you're not ready to be on a public platform. Maybe you're not ready to put yourself out there. Ooh, okay. Maybe you're not ready for that. Maybe you can't own your own business. Maybe you can't. Entrepreneurship maybe isn't for you. Or maybe you're just meant to, be another number. Maybe you weren't meant to do the generational, or break the generational curses, Like, maybe it's not you. Maybe, So I feel like during this process, I did a lot of self-sabotaging. Like, for those who saw it happen in real time, I released like the coming soon type of, just putting it out there on Instagram, and I think a few other platforms. I can't really remember, but I remember specifically it was on Instagram. I stepped out on faith. I created an Instagram for the podcast. I created all the websites and everything like that, and yet it sat there. And for those who don't know, it sat there because I got all this courage to put it out there, and then I went through a stage or a period of self-doubt, like, oh no, maybe you're not built for this. Maybe you can't do this. So it sat. And it just began to just kind of, just sit there for a second. And I got in my own way for a second. And even now, as I'm recording this, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and be like, oh, those thoughts aren't there, because they still maybe are. But I'm going to tell you what trumps all of that fear right there. Or at least I should say that fear of success, or the fear of not being enough or worthy or whatever the case may be. What trumps that, y'all, is actually, I'm more scared of not living up to my potential. I'm more scared of not being everything God called me to be. I'm more scared of missing my mark because I got in my own way. I'm more afraid of not obeying because I chose to do my own thing, and the repercussions that actually would bring. Because I was actually watching another podcast. I think it was the Know For Sure podcast with B. Simone and Megan Brooks, one of my favorite podcasts. And I think they were talking to Lady London, I believe. And they were all basically talking about, God's will. And how if you're going to disobey, I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to put it. If you're going to disobey and you're going to step out of God's will, in order to keep whatever comes from that, you have to stay out of his will. And that shook me. Like, it completely shook me. I'm still shooketh to this day, because I don't want to live that life. I feel like the reason why so much had happened during this preparation season, the reason why it was so much mental strife, the reason why, I'm gonna be honest, the clips kept getting deleted, the footage kept getting deleted. Like, I feel like the reason why that kept happening is because I never took a second to consult with God. I never took a second to be like, okay, God, I understand you gave me this platform and you're giving me this vision, and now I have some type of drive and passion for this. I understand that you gave me this, but what do I do with it? What do I do next? How do you want this to look? How do you want this to be? What should I talk about? What shouldn't I talk about? Like, y'all, I'm not gonna lie. I was debating for like 2 weeks within this whole process, 2 weeks straight, if I was gonna talk about God or not. I'm not gonna lie. I debated. I was like, well, maybe, I'll lose an audience, or at least like a chunk of an audience, if I'm too religious or anything like that. And let me tell you something about me. I'm not religious. I am not perfect. I like to say I'm perfectly imperfect, actually, and I strive to be that way, because perfection is literally an impossible expectation to set on yourself. But I am rooted. I have a source. And I do believe that because I do have him as my source, it's why I am the way I am. And it's why I'm able to talk to people in a certain way to reach them. It's how I'm so inspired and I can be so creative and I can get on everyone's level without barely even knowing them. And this is more me talking in person. I haven't even touched on really this platform, but more just in general. It's almost absurd for me to have a platform like this and not acknowledge him. And that's what I feel like I was doing. Like, the first couple times I was recording this, y'all, I felt like I was giving you guys exactly what I felt like you guys wanted, without consulting him, without asking him for wisdom, without saying, hey, God, is this what you want me to say? Is this what you want me to do? Or should I just hold off on this? Like, I just was doing it, going with the motions and just, trying to get it out there. But y'all, my goal is to actually reach somebody. If I touch one person, if I could change one person's life, if I could have an impact on one person's life, I feel like it's all worth it. I feel like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. That's how I know it's not a fear of failure, because excuse you, English. All right. I feel like a fear of failure is scared that you're only going to reach one person and it's going to flop and no one's going to really listen. But I don't care. I want to at least reach one person. And in order to do that, I have to be completely true to myself, my beliefs, my stances on certain things. And I do feel like God should have been a non-negotiable that I was wavering on. And it wasn't until I had a conversation with a friend and he reminded me that he should be in the center of everything that I'm doing. And that includes What She Say podcast. Now, y'all, am I perfect? No, and I'm going to keep saying that. So will y'all hear a little bit of cursing? Will y'all hear a little bit of vulgarity? Is that a word? It's going to be a word today if it's not. Because I want to talk about the real. And I do feel like I've been given this gift of bluntness, but being able to deliver the bluntness in a way people will receive. So I do feel like I'll be able to do that, but also keep God at the center. It's just been a whole thing, y'all. Then on top of that, let's really get into like the whole entire process for real. Because first of all, when I came back into the idea of let me, start a podcast, y'all, I had no idea how to do it. Like the tech that you see here, the mic stand, everything like that, even some of the lights and stuff in the like software that y'all can't see, I had no idea how to do that a few months ago. I didn't know where I was going to get the money for the equipment. Let me be for real. I had no idea. Because if you want quality audio, you want quality video, if you want quality, you're going to have to pay for it. They say it takes money to make money. Not even that this is about money. Because if I don't make a dime, but I impact somebody, I feel like that's still worth it. So it's not exactly about money, but it's just more just kind of like, this ain't cheap. Y'all, when they say, and I actually got to credit my mom because she said to me, she was like, oh, if it's on God's time, it's on God's dime. And that proved itself to be true because I definitely, as you can see, got all the equipment and everything became fine. But y'all, I still didn't know how to work it. Let me tell you something. YouTube University is going to do it for me every time, y'all. I literally sat down and studied this stuff like it was for a whole entire exam in college. I put the work in to figure all of this out. And here's the gag. I'm still figuring it out. One of my other good friends, shout out to you, Asia girl. I know you listening. Hopefully you listen to this point. But she told me, she was like, let your project, let it be a baby. Let it actually have a baby stage. It's not going to be perfect. You're not going to know everything. Everything's not going to be up to par and everything. Like, let it have a baby stage and give it a chance to grow. So that's pretty much what I'm doing. I am stepping out on faith and I'm recording and I'm filming and I am going to get it out to you guys because I do believe that I should just start. If I can just start, I feel like I will be fine. And even as I'm recording this, y'all, I'm not going to lie. I am starting to feel a lot of comfort because I'm just like, I can do this. Like, I can talk on a mic and actually have substance about what I'm talking about. Like, this is actually possible. And it's so funny to me because a lot of people, they're like, what's going on? Where's the podcast? What's going on? Y'all don't understand. Y'all do not understand. This process can be a lot if you let it be. I will definitely say that. But what have I learned through this process? I learned that I deserve to walk in my purpose. And that may sound crazy to a lot of people. But when you're being told that maybe you shouldn't do something or maybe you're not equipped to do something, or even if you're telling yourself that, it is very hard to break out of that. And I do feel like I owe it to myself to finally not be lost. I owe it to myself to finally put myself out there. I owe it to you guys to actually bring some type of value into your life. Whether you're listening to me right now in your car, or you're watching me right now as you're cleaning up, or whatever the case may be, I want to add some type of value. I do feel like, why not walk in it? Why not push beyond the fears? Why not go against the grain and talk about the stuff people are afraid to talk about, because you know you will talk about it and you will handle it in a very graceful way. Why not you? I would definitely say I've learned that in this season. Another thing I learned is, if you're waiting for the perfect time to do something, you will never get it done. Like, y'all, I'm recording this on a random day. You know, face not beat, nothing like that. I'm just putting this out there because I am tired of trying to make it perfect. Like, this episode is very freestyle. You know, I have, like I said, I have my little notes, but this is pretty freestyle because I don't want to delay anything anymore. I don't want to wait anymore. You know, and let this be your sign. If there is something that you want to do, if there is something that you feel like God is pushing you to do, if there's a strong feeling to get something done, to start something, to continue something, to have the conversation that may be tough to have, whatever that case may be, if you're getting a strong push to do that, just do it. Like Nike said, just do it. Because if you keep waiting for a perfect time, you're never going to get it done. Just do it. And I'm not just saying that for y'all, I'm saying that for me too. But yeah, that's pretty much like some of the things I've definitely learned during this process. You know, I'm going to keep this raw, uncut. I'm not going to cut anything. I'm not going to edit anything. I'm going to keep everything pretty much the same because I want you guys to grow with me during this journey. I already know I'm going to look years from now, look back at this first episode and be like, girl, what's tea? Why did you do that? But I truly just want to get it out there to you guys. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys for this first episode. It's real cute, short, straight to the point. You know, so join me back here next week, next Wednesday, where we will be talking about adulting and everything that comes with that. All right, y'all. And I have a little saying. Y'all let me know if y'all like it or not. And don't clown me in the comments because that's not nice. In fact, if you clown me in the comments, you're anti-black. But anyways, let me stop playing with y'all. Y'all be blessed, stay out of mess, and continue to press on because I know you guys can do it and I believe in you guys. And I will see you guys next Wednesday.